Hey, how's it going, everybody? I got a new vid for you up, and this one I'm going to talk about 5 movies that I have to watch this time of year. It's October 5th, and we have to start watching some horror movies, and this is the time for it. So, just to get started real quick, the first movie I want to talk about is Night of the Demons. It's one of my favorite 80s horror films. I do believe it came out in 1986. It's pretty good as far as my opinion goes. It's directed by Kevin S. Tenney, who also did Witchboard. I don't have that one, but I do like it. I need to pick it up. I think it's out of print like this one is, though, so it might be a little pricey if I have to look for it. But anyway, this movie's really good. It's great special effects. If you're a DVD fan, it's got a good commentary with 2 producers and the director. It's got a interview, 14-minute interview with Linnea Quigley. She's a former Scream Queen, and I do believe she's going to make a cameo in the remake. There's a remake coming soon. I do believe it's made. I think we're just waiting for a DVD release for it. But movie's fun. It's 80s cheese at its best. You know, it's got a bunch of unknown actors that you've probably never seen in anything else. But it's really good. It's a good haunted house movie. These kids, you know, just go out on Halloween and go to this old abandoned mortuary and start partying, and eventually they wake up some demons that come and possess them, and there you go. That's the story. But keep your eye out, if you haven't seen this, keep your eye out for the famous lipstick scene. That's it's kind of one of the staples of this flick, and anybody who has seen it knows what I'm talking about. So, alright, next movie I want to talk about is ReAnimator. It's based on an H.P. Lovecraft story. I've never read the story. I wouldn't mind trying sometime. I'm not going to go out of my way to find it. Got into this one probably in my early teens. I remember my uncle showing this one to me and my dad one time. I really got attached to it. I really thought it was very, very cool. It's got some great special effects, some really inventive special effects. And the story's fairly simple, but the acting in it is actually really good for this genre of film, I think, anyway. It basically centers around 2 students at Miskatonic University, one being one Herbert West, and yes, he is in both the sequels, Bride of ReAnimator and Beyond ReAnimator. He transfers to this school after the scientist that he was working with dies, and he brings with him the former scientist and his work, which is this ReAnimator fluid, and they were working on this to reanimate dead flesh, and the only problem is when things become reanimated, they don't come back like a normal person. They come back violent and, you know, really mean and just nasty looking, and his whole premise in this is to try to get it just right, but obviously he doesn't. So, but anybody interested in the special features, there's a great 2 great commentaries. There's a 70-minute featurette, plenty of interviews, plenty of deleted scene stuff, extended stuff, just galleries, tons of good stuff on here. So if you're looking for an edition to get, and if you haven't seen it, this one I'm pretty sure is pretty readily available. Alright, next thing to talk about is probably the greatest zombie film ever made, Dawn of the Dead. It's obviously one of my favorites. As you can see, I've got the nice Ultimate Edition box set. But these days, since I've gotten this box set, when I watch the film, I watch the European version, which is Dario Argento's cut, and he got to make a cut of the movie because he helped George Romero get it made, and his cut's a little shorter than the other 2 cuts, and it kind of, I like it that way. It cuts the fat out of the movie and just keeps it at a rolling pace, and, you know, keeps the action going and keeps all the things that, you know, in my opinion, as a horror fan, you want to see. I'm not putting down the other cuts. The extended cut's nice because it fleshes things out a bit, and the original cut's good, you know, because it's the original movie. It's what, you know, you most likely have seen before, and if you have this, then you've seen the others and you know what I'm talking about. But love this edition. It's got a great fourth disc with tons of documentaries, tons of extra footage, interviews and whatnot. And I just to show off a little bit, I got Ken Foray to autograph mine for me. So, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know where you've been, but you need to check it out because it is amazing. Alrighty, next movie up, The Evil Dead. This is my favorite in the trilogy. I don't really care for 2 or Army of Darkness. I just didn't get into the whole horror comedy thing. I like a few, Shaun of the Dead being one, love Shaun of the Dead, and I just recently saw Zombieland and really enjoyed it. But those movies, in my opinion, you knew going in that they were going to be comedies. I think some of the appeal for some folks that liked 2 in Army of Darkness is that it surprised them when things got funny. Well, that didn't really hit me the right way because I love this movie. It's one of the few movies growing up that creeped me out. I mean, the craziness that ensues in this film, and once it gets started, this movie does not stop. It is completely relentless. It will not let you go. It just keeps on and on and on. And what's most incredible about the movie, I think, is the shoestring budget that they made it on. You could never tell because while watching the movie, there's camera shots and angles and things they did and special effects that they came up with that, kind of rival big Hollywood budget movies, But it's creepy, it's good, and you've got 3 discs here, plenty of special features, all kinds of extra stuff here. If you're wanting to get this movie, this is the edition to get, in my opinion. It's got a nice fold-out 2-sided poster to it. I love the packaging. It's kind of heavy, actually. I'm getting tired of holding it here. But if you haven't seen this, you need to check it out. It's a must-see for this time of year. But the last movie I want to talk about is a must for most people. And if you haven't seen this, or if this isn't a must for you, then I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. That just kind of blows my mind if you don't watch this movie every year or even want to watch it. But it would be Halloween. It may very well be my favorite horror film of all time. I can't really say. It's kind of a hard choice. It's between 3 movies, but maybe I'll talk about that some other time. This is my favorite edition that I own. I own 3 versions of this movie. They all have different things on them. And I brought out one of the other editions that I have just to show it off because it's pretty rare these days, I do believe. It's the extended edition with all the extra footage from all the TV stuff that was edited out. So, this is really nice. But the 25th anniversary edition, it's got a great commentary with John Carpenter, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Deborah Hill. It's got a 87-minute documentary with God knows how many people, everybody that was involved in the creation of the film. It's got an on-location documentary showing the original house and what it looks like now and where it's at now because they moved it. Plenty of TV spots, trailers, radio spots, posters, still gallery, talent files, all that good stuff. But this is an absolute must. Halloween night, whatever, whenever you want to watch it, sometime through October, you need to watch this movie because, like I said, it may very well be the greatest horror film of all time. Just to eat up a little bit more time here, I don't know, maybe do some honorable mentions. Let's see, Exorcist for one. Exorcist is a must-watch, even though it doesn't really scare me. It's just impressive. I love the movie. It's a great movie, and the story is told very well. The acting, I mean, the acting in the movie is really what gets me because the characters and how they convey what they're going through in the film is really what stands out to me. And you gotta love that Mike Oldfield, Tubular Bells score. So. But a few other honorable mentions. Obviously, Day of the Dead is one of my favorites. I love the original Night of the Living Dead, but Day of the Dead is awesome. The remake of Night of the Living Dead is my personal favorite between the 2, Night of the Living Dead and then the remake, because Tom Savini's the man. But I'm probably running out of time here, so I just want to thank everybody for watching, and I'll be back with something else soon, maybe.